All right, you rolling? And welcome, race fans, to today's Rowdy.com Big Three. And look who we found wandering around on the streets of Charlotte. Nate Ryan, USA Today.
Never know what you're going to find on Moorhead Street.
Yeah, we dragged him in off the street. My name is Bassmasters. This is Buzz Cutler, and today we do the Big Three Quote Edition, Nate, where we play you a quote, a NASCAR quote that you probably already have heard, and then we comment on it.
And one thing you'll learn about us here at Rowdy, Nate, is that we are very proud of how we unabashedly pander to the junior nation. So our first quote is coming from the prodigal son himself, Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is Junior after Martinsville.
I had to try to hold my ground. I mean, we were racing for the lead with just a few laps to go. So I think I did, what any other driver probably would have done.
So there's been a lot of talk in the, blogosphere. Should Junior have punted Harvick for the win?
I don't know really if he had the ability to do it this time. It's been so long since he's won a race, and not just won a race, but he finished second at Daytona last year. It's been 3 years since his last win at Michigan, since he was actually leading late in the going and knew what it was like to close out. So I think he was a little bit rusty at knowing how to rough a guy up. And I think if he had to do it over again, he said after the race, this one's going to stay with me. It's going to linger. It's going to hurt more the more I think about it. I think if he had to do it again, you might have seen a different Junior.
He might have gone a little harder for the win, but it's no sure thing that if he gets into Kevin Harvick that he gets away from him. And that's the thing, when you bump someone in that situation, it's nice if you're the faster race car, because then you can drive away and he won't get back to you. But in that case, you're almost going to have to wreck Kevin, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
The whole thing that I get sort of bogged down on around this whole issue is the moral judgment. I read people saying, well, he didn't want the win badly enough, or his daddy is rolling in his grave. His daddy would never have finished, would never have settled for second. It's like, I don't see how you can translate his decision not to bump Kevin Harvick to a lack of desire.
Yeah, that's just unfair. I mean, to me, again, it was pure rustiness. It's just, you forget maybe, I thought he gave Kevin Harvick maybe a little bit too much room coming down the front straightaway into turn one, and I think if he could have done it again, he might have squeezed him a little bit more, and if he squeezes him a little bit more, maybe
he keeps him from getting by in the first place.
But his car was going away.
It was.
I mean, Kevin was clearly faster.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
All right, let's stick with our pandering. Another quote about Junior, this one from Richard Childress. Let's hear what RC had to say.
Dale Jr. will win races. He will come back. We've been in that situation. We've had a long dry spell.
So RC is confident that Junior's going to win again, and he is on his way back. Are you guys as confident as Richard Childress?
I'm as confident that he's on his way back. I don't know if a win is as close as it felt on Sunday with a second-place finish.
Yeah, and Junior said it was a 7th to 10th place car.
And it was.
The adage goes you got to start finishing the top 5 before you can win that race.
Right, but I think it's based on pure speed. They're not a race-winning vehicle yet that I've seen in any of these races, really, except maybe Daytona. We'll never know with that.
No. And to go back to the bump, I think that's also, the fuel mileage thing. I don't think Junior wants to win on fuel mileage.
No.
I don't think he wants to win
wrecking a guy
up.
Right.
I think he wants to win because that day he had the best car and he was the best driver.
Well, overall, though, wouldn't you say the chemistry with Steve Letarte, I mean, that seems to be pretty darn good.
He's a different guy on the radio.
Absolutely,
I mean, he's a completely different, changed man. I mean, you can tell, like, a lot of Letarte, who's this very, fastidious.
Right. Very matter-of-fact is
yes,
the phrase I use.
A lot of that's rubbed off on Junior.
Even after sort of the disappointment of Martinsville, Junior sounded up. He sounded happy. He talked about being disappointed, but he didn't sound terribly disappointed, whereas in the past couple of seasons, I just wanted to keep feeding him Prozac.
Right.
So I do think that Junior's on his way back. But, yeah, wins in NASCAR are elusive.
And you got to say, I mean, Junior's running pretty well compared to how his teammates are running. I mean, I think that's one thing you have to look at is last year, the only guy that won a race at Hendrick Motorsports was Jimmie Johnson.
Right.
So, but Junior was still lagging behind, almost as David Reagan is to some of his teammates at Roush Fenway, so Junior was to the rest of the Hendrick garage. Well, now he's running with his teammates. He's in the ballpark.
Dale Jr. to David Reagan.
You're welcome, David Reagan.
Oh, all right. Issue number 3, Jimmie Johnson, he who makes no mistakes, made a mistake.
And finally admitted it.
And actually, when he got out of the car, he said, it was all NASCAR's fault. They're just making it up. But he sort of backtracked a little bit, apologized for calling NASCAR out, but he still has a bone to pick. Let's listen.
Yeah, I mean, they have the information being sent to a computer that they're reviewing in their, in race control. It'd be very easy to broadcast that signal, just like they do for timing and scoring, for all the teams to see.
I think he's right. I think we need to see the pit road speeds. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a member of the Fourth Estate. You're never going to get me
Right,
to say,
but
hey,
less information.
No transparency, please. I work in the media. Of course,
Right.
I want to know everything that can possibly disseminate it. I want that information. Now, NASCAR has their reasons apparently for not releasing it, but I'm not really sure I understand them very
Right.
well as they tried to explain them.
Well, let me play devil's advocate, right? Because everybody says, well, you've got instant replay in all the other sports, but you look at basketball and baseball. Football's a different story, but you look at basketball and baseball, the sanctioning body isn't the one providing those replays, right? It's the TV network.
Well, the TV network would be more than happy to provide the information if NASCAR let them, right?
Yeah, I think that the key here is that it wouldn't just be for the competitors' benefit. I think fans
Absolutely.
who are already used to, gobbling up all these different, mediums, NASCAR.com Track Pass and the telemetry they show on Twitter. This would be like one more avenue of like, oh my God, I can see exactly how fast they went through every segment on pit road. I think that they could spin it. And as this has been so much the year of the fan the last couple of seasons, this would be another way to do it.
And there are strategic considerations, as we discovered on Sunday, with how Jimmie Johnson, for example, manages his pit stop, knowing that, like, if speeding is determined by segment time, then the segment in which I stop, I pretty much have unlimited speed because I got to stop in the middle. And if I can somehow get my pit box in 2 segments, then I got 2 segments to speed. And there are strategic considerations that would be very interesting to get a window on, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a peek behind the curtain at how these guys game the system.
Right.
And I guess that's NASCAR's contention is we don't want to give away too much of their strategies. But let's face it, these teams all know what the other teams do.
It's the only one people who don't know is the fans.
Yeah.
But NASCAR has always been of the attitude, this is our sandbox. We make the rules. And if you don't like them, go find another sandbox.
Well, that's fine. But it just means that it's just when you have less information, then you have more room for conspiracy theories.
Right.
Like they tried to get me with that penalty unfairly, or they did this to help Junior, or did this to hurt Junior, or it doesn't matter what.
That reason's fine, Buzz, but I wish they would just say that. It's silly to come out and say, oh, no, well, it's not about competition on pit road, or it's not about showing other teams what the other team's strategies are. I mean, just Bill France Jr. would just come out and said what you just said, Buzz. This is our sandbox. We run the game. If you don't like it, go home.
Right. All right. Well, and this is our sandbox.
Yeah, we run the game, Ryan. We run the game.
And thank you for watching today's Big Three. You can follow any of us at Twitter if you'd like. I'm Buzz_Cutler, Bass_Masters. Nate Ryan, no underscore.
I managed to sneak in there quick enough.
Well done. Well
Without
done,
the
Nate
underscore.
Ryan.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.